My name is Selma Dewani, and I am the curriculum writer behind The Blue Brain Teacher. Thank you so much for joining me on today's presentation. I believe personally that education is the key to a brighter future, and technology are the tools that we really need to embrace in order to get there. So today's presentation that I'm going to be sharing with you is really about getting excited about technology and how it really can transform your teaching and your students' learning. So that's what we're going to do. We know that with everything going on, it's a crazy time, and we really need to look at this as an opportunity to embrace everything that's coming our way. So today I'm going to share with you 3 strategies that you really should embrace this summer so that you can have a wonderful back to school this fall. First, I wanted to say that I am so excited to be part of the 2020 Digital Summit. It has been an excellent experience. I really want to give a shout out to Jennifer and Diana for all their hard work in putting this wonderful event together. And I am so excited to be sharing this platform with a whole bunch of educators. So with all that, I'm very excited, and let's just jump right in. I wasn't kidding. I really did do a little jump in, didn't I? So today we're going to cover 3 strategies. The first strategy is getting really comfortable and embracing technology, getting really comfortable with it so that you can do different things to gain your students' attention and also make it more fun for you. The second strategy that we're going to talk about is looking at our routines in our classroom and how we can actually translate those to online learning routines so that just in case we don't have a full-time classroom, we can kind of, go between both, and students will still have a sense of normalcy, and you as well. The third strategy we're going to talk about today is going to be about multimodal learning units and how we can design our year next year so that they can work whether we're in the classroom or out of the classroom or blended. The first part of really having a successful year with technology is honestly embracing it. So I know if you are about 35 years old and older, around my age, I'm over 35, I'm over 40, but that's not the point. We weren't born with technology, but our students were. And we really need to start using it in a way that is more integrated into our life. So it's really important to understand that we're not teaching tools ever. What we're doing instead, because tools can change. One day it might be one app, and the next day it might be a different app. So the point that I'm trying to make with this step is that you need to be flexible and not embrace just one tool and then stick with it, to be willing to try new things and to streamline your process. So the best way to get started with that is first doing it in your own personal life. How streamlined and how tech savvy are you? What do you use in your regular day-to-day life? How can you digitize that at home? So for example, have you called an Uber? Have you used Grubhub, just order food? Have you done curbside pickup for certain things? Maybe in these days, in the COVID-19 days, maybe that's become more of a norm actually. So perhaps you've done that, but are you paperless with bills? Are you using a digital calendar? Like, what are you doing in your everyday life to start embracing technology and moving forward? So that's step 1. Go ahead and look at your handout. That will have some ideas for you and just to help you think about how are you personally part of this modern world. Okay, and once you do that, and once you start getting comfortable with how, like looking at your life and how you can streamline the process using the tools available, then you're going to start understanding how you can do that in your classroom and how your students can do that in their own lives. So part of that is yourself. Change always starts with yourself. So how can you start embracing change right now so that that can transfer over to your classroom and into your students' lives? Step 2, or strategy 2, is about looking at your routines, your classroom routines. Now, students will do certain things in your classroom that translate really easily to an online classroom format. Like, for example, when they're entering your classroom, they might have certain things that they need to do, like put up your put away your supplies, put away your backpack, hand in homework, or any other notes that need to be given to the teacher. It could also be, checking the board for what they're supposed to do for morning work. Well, you can do that for your online classroom too. And it's really good if you can find the balance so that they know what to do. So like what you're doing in the classroom, it should translate really well to what you're doing online. So if they're checking their work, maybe you can also integrate the technology right then and there in person. So instead of checking the board, they're going to be checking the Google Classroom to see what is going to be happening today, the schedule. It's really important to have them have that routine in the classroom and also integrate it. So just in case it's like a part-time routine or a blended routine, who knows what's happening this fall, but that way your kids are not confused on what needs to be done. And also start using and integrating the same kind of things that you're doing in your classroom. Also in synchronous sessions, how when you start your lessons in person, can you translate those to your your synchronous sessions? So if you have a warm-up or opening, you can also do them online. So I personally think that when you're doing, if we're forced to do the fall online, I don't think synchronous sessions are to be used for, synchronous meaning live sessions should be used for teaching any new content. I believe 100% everything should be pre-recorded. Synchronous sessions, I do believe they should happen, but I believe they should be happening for different reasons, and I'm going to get into that with strategy 3. But just to give you a little quick overview, synchronous sessions honestly really should be for building community, answering questions, clearing up misconceptions on the work, and just fun. They should be fun and to build community. So I'm going to stop there for strategy 2. You can check your handout. I will have lots of information in there for you for some routine ideas. And I want to move into strategy 3, which is the meat of the presentation. Okay, strategy 3 is the most important strategy, and it's going to be where I'm going to spend the bulk of this time right now. It is about student learning, and obviously that is the most important thing right now. Student learning and how we're going to go about doing it and supporting our students the best way that we can. I want you to get started on creating this unit plan. You're going to need to look at one of your existing units. And the first thing that you're going to do while you're looking at this existing unit is pull out your final assessment for that unit and take a look at all of the skills needed to master that unit and write them down. This is the content nuggets that you want your students to know and the specific skills that they need to demonstrate in order to master this assessment. You need to know what they are, okay? And list those down. So if they are standards, list them down. Okay, and then what they need to achieve those standards. So that's what I mean, like you just want little pieces of information. Your unit should have a deadline. And the assessment, your final assessment for the whole unit should be given to the students ahead of time, along with a rubric and a whole bunch of different choices. Like you could have it a matrix that touches on different learning styles, that touches on different ways to visibly produce their learning. This is how you want to plan your final assessment, okay? This is super important. Now, after you have that figured out, so once you know that unit and all the little content pieces and skill pieces that they need, you are going to create a 6-minute video for each one. So each content or knowledge piece or each skill that your students need to master, you need to create one 6-minute video. Now, you don't want to make the video too long. If it's less than 6 minutes, if you can get that information across in less than 6 minutes, then it's less than 6 minutes. 6 minutes is the maximum, and the only reason for that is because after 6 minutes, attention starts to ooh. So that's also kind of why I'm breaking up this video, and I'm trying my best to keep it like short and in order to not bore you. So you want to remember that when you're creating these pieces, try not to be so boring. Be yourself. Usually when you're yourself and you're not scripted, it's a lot more interesting. Okay, so those 6-minute videos, they're going to replace your in-class teaching time. So even if you are having an in-class like period, like you're not doing online learning, you can still use these as a station where you can use this model in your classroom no matter what, COVID-19 time or whenever. It is so great to have these 6-minute pieces that students that miss class can look at, students that need a little bit more time, they can spend time on it, and students that are working a little bit quicker, they can move on to the next piece without waiting for everyone else to catch up. Like, this is differentiated learning at its best. It's so important. I really hope that you spend your summer getting ready for this, for the next year doing these things, because you can use it forever. You just need to create it one time. So the second part of this is, okay, so you have your direct teaching, that's the videos. Next is practice. How are your students going to take that and how are they going to practice it? So you are going to create 3 activities for each of those skill or content areas. They can also not be activities that you create, but activities that you find online. There's so many games and different things that can help practice a skill or give more information on some content that you want them to learn. And you are going to create 3. Why? Because you're going to do 1, it's going to be a must do. So everyone in the class has to do that activity. The second activity that you're going to create that goes with that same piece of content, that same 6-minute video, is a should do, or an activity that if they finish the must do and they need a little bit more practice, or just something that's going to take them a little bit higher on the Bloom scale, that can be the second activity. And the third activity is your like aspirational activity. These are for maybe some higher order thinking skill more, but a little bit higher on the Blooms. And this is what you need to do for each and every video. You started your unit planning. Your unit has an end date. You have an assessment planned out, and you have 6-minute videos for each unit content and unit skill. Now, how does the person go from a video and practice into the next video? I'm going to tell you how. You are going to create exit tickets for each video that helps you to see, and for the student to see, that they've mastered that content, knowledge, or skill. Once they have finished and successfully completed the exit ticket, which you can use Google Forms to do it so that it's automated, your student will either talk to you if they didn't do well and needs extra practice, and you can do that through having them schedule a Zoom, or if you are actually in your classroom and working in your classroom, you can take, since you're not doing direct model teaching anymore, like direct teaching anymore, and you're using your videos, you are freed up to work with these students that might need a little bit more help to master that skill. Or like I said, your students can work with you in a Google Meet or Zoom session that they can schedule with you that week. They will be using an exit ticket to go on to the next lesson, and they will not move on to the next lesson unless they successfully complete the exit ticket and or talk to you. The second part of this that I forgot to mention is, since your students know what the final assessment is, each day they should be keeping a journal, a self-reflection journal, helping them to keep track of their learning and metacognitive strategies of just like, what are they understanding, what are they questioning. You should have your students keep an online journal. Maybe it could be a blog, maybe it can be just a simple Google slide where they update their learning and the questions that they have, and that way you can go in and respond one by one with them, just to keep that community going and give them direct feedback. You know, this feedback is super important, and staying in contact with your students is super important. So use that email and use that self-reflection journal to do that. And you could give them prompts, or it can be completely what they want to write about. So that is something that I forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about your final assessment, because when students are talking about what they're learning and how they're learning, you can see also maybe what they're thinking about for their final assessment. It can be included in their journal. So that is another part that I wanted to talk to you about. I hope that my 3 strategies for this summer, number 1 was embracing technology in your own personal life. Number 2 was creating routines that can go that can work on and offline, and actually and the 3rd strategy was actually taking a unit and breaking it up so that you can have it all online. And now I want to just jump on my computer. I'm not going to literally jump. I'm going to just use my screen right now and walk you through a free digital classroom that I'm going to share with you. And I hope that you get some inspiration from it and that you can use it come fall. And now I finally want to share with you an example of a digital classroom. And in order to get copies of these, I have a link in the handouts section that will take you to my newsletter list. And once you opt in that, and you will get a copy of all of this and some more information. So let's open up the digital classroom, and I just want to quickly show you how mine looks. Now, this is made in slides, and students are not able to move anything around. You can replace this teacher, this Bitmoji teacher, easily with your own, and I will also have information on how to do that in the handouts with the link, so it's all going to be there. Super easy, so I'm just going to leave her there for now. You can have all of these linked any way you want. You could also put posters here by inserting an image. You can change all of this up and have links to the different slides right there. And you could link this file cabinet to the classroom drive. So that's a nice way to use it. And here you can put books that you are reading or anything else that you're working on here that you want your students to have access to. Books are great, or podcasts or whatever else that you want them to have access to can go here on the shelves. So let me show you the assignment slide. You're going to click that and go down, or you could just use the down arrow. And you will see all the assignments, and this week is editable, and it's on a little cork board. And here you would write all of your subjects, and here would be all the dates that you could change. And then everything that you want them to do would go in here. And the 3rd part is a very important part that would be updated weekly, and that is your schedule, and also would have a link to your Google Calendar where students can actually get an appointment with you, and I will also be sharing how to do that when you sign up. And also here you can write the names of the students that you want to have those appointments with. So that's what this Great Schedule page is about. So all of your synchronous classes will be here. If you're meeting with certain reading groups, they would be here, and block that all out. And then here are your office hours, so you can have your like Zoom open meeting or Google Meet where you just give your link and students can join you for that hour at any time, or from 12 to 3 if you have by appointment hours. They can do that by scheduling it with you from your Google Calendar, which I will show you how to do. So that is that. If you come up here, I have already linked math, so let's go ahead and look at how a math unit would be set up. They would click this, go over to Google Classroom and have that. Now there, I have linked the unit, like the unit dashboard, you can think about it. So let's take a look at that. Here is the unit dashboard. You would use the section to welcome your students. Again, a Bitmoji that you could add yourself, and I'll show you how to do that. And everything else, you know, you can add posters here or anything you want to make this an exciting unit introduction. And then going on to the second slide, it is basically your dashboard for your unit. And here it says math unit. If you go down, since you will be making a copy of this to use with your own students, I have a reading, grammar, science, history, and social studies. And if there's anything that you would like to see, just message me at thebluebrainteacher@gmail.com and I will respond to you. So let's go back to slide 2, and here you will see that the lesson is on slide 3. But before I go to that, you would write your due date here, and this is not necessary. I did say to you, give your units a due date. You can also give your lessons a due date if you want your students, like if you want to, I don't want to call it micromanaging, but if you want to give them a target, which a lot of students do need, you can give them a target date that will help them plan so that they're not missing the due date unit. Some kids need that, so that's an option. Then here you can write what the video they're going to be watching, maybe a short title. You can do the must do, the should do, and the aspire to do, and then you can link your exit ticket that you'll be creating for that lesson 1. And the same thing for lesson 2. And here you would write about what your final assessment is, and if there's a file, a Google Drive folder for that, you could link all that information all here. And right up here, they have a quick, to go to Google Classroom. So how is a lesson set up? I told you each lesson should have a video, a 6-minute video, and each lesson should only encompass one skill or content knowledge piece that you want your students to understand. So you would create the video and then you can insert it here. You can easily host it on YouTube, make it unlisted, and then post the link in here. And then I would suggest to create a type of guided notes that your students can follow, or if you want to teach them how to do Cornell notes, that's a good way to get your kids, like you could create a video on how to do Cornell notes so that they keep Cornell notes in their notebook that they can take a picture of and send to you. And that is also a really good option. And then you would go on, after the students are done watching the video, they would move on to the practice section. Here you would have a list of your must-do activities, linking to the activity that they need to do. And here would be the should do, and then the aspire to do activities would be here. And then finally, you can use this page, like let's say you're going to design the must-do activity. I did create a template here, so you can use this page to create a practice. And these are all for you to use and duplicate. And then the final page is a journal entry. If you want a journal entry for each lesson, it's up to you. If you don't like it, you can delete it. But I just wanted to create that to show you how this can be set up. And then the kids, once they're done with all of those, they would go back up to here and then click the link and go on to the exit ticket. So I personally will be working on units like this for the Blue Brain Teacher. So please follow my Teachers Pay Teachers shop, or go ahead and follow me in my newsletter on my social media. And I can't wait to help support you to create these kinds of units for your classroom. So please stay in touch. I hope that you found my presentation interesting. I hope you found it inspiring, and I am really, really happy to support you. So please don't be afraid to reach out. I know a lot of this is new, and if you have any questions, again, please reach out. I can't stress that enough. I hope you have a successful school year, and have a wonderful rest of the day.